Hello everyone. You may remember I made this card a few days ago using some Trinity stamps, layering stencils. I really thought it was great fun. I loved doing it. But the more I looked at it, I thought to myself, I wonder if I could do it the other way round. Because in the pack with the stencils came the actual cut-out trees that they had taken out of the stencils. So I thought I would try and use those just to make a kind of negative-ish version of this. And this is what I came up with. Of course, I can make it wider now because this one is limited by the width of the stencil, unless I were to extend it a bit. But this one, I could spread out the trees as much as I liked. So I'll just show you what I did to achieve that look. Got a piece of paper. Well, this is card. This is actually not my linen. This one happens to be smooth. It just happens to be a piece that was by my cutter. So I've got a piece of card, and in my spray box I have laid out the trees that came in the pack with the stencils. So these are, I guess you'd call them masks. So I'm going to spray them with some repositionable spray. Now this hopefully should keep them down onto the card while I add the ink. And when they're taken off, the tackiness should come off with the mask and not stay on the card, on the paper. So we'll see. So I'm going to have, I do have ventilation, so, you know, don't worry. Right, put some repositionable spray on these. Okay. Now, I'll just leave them for a second or two while I just show you what I'm going to use, or what I did use for this card. I used black soot at the top, then I used hickory smoke, and I've got two different applicators for the hickory smoke. With the small one, I can get kind of more intensity of colour. The larger one, it'll be less so. And this time I used some lost shadow as well, just down at the bottom. On my previous card, I used a different stencil, the snowflake stencil from Marianne Designs, together with some of my homemade embossing paste. It's not sea salt, it's my homemade embossing paste. And onto the top of that, I sprinkled a little glamour dust. Glamour dust is just ultra fine twinkle, very, very fine twinkle. But for this one, I think you can see there's a subtle difference. This one is kind of more solid, more white. I used this. It's Nuvo Glimmer paste. Don't know what colour this one's called. Moonstone. It's called Moonstone. But I like it, but I do find it rather expensive. So if you want to, you know, get a similar sort of effect, but without the outlay, you could make some embossing paste. I will add a link to my homemade embossing paste video in the description below, so you can kind of see what's what. Okay, right, let's get going with our trees. I've got my piece of paper. I do intend cutting this down, so we'll see how we go. Right, here are my trees. I picked them up out of the box and pop them onto here. I don't know how many there are. A fair few. I don't want them to be evenly spaced, just kind of randomness, really. I think it's great how they give you the bits they cut out as well. So you've got stencils and masks all together in one pack. Right, so I've got 3 more left. I don't know how many there were altogether, whether there was some still left in the bucket. I just spotted these, so I used them. So we'll see how we go. Another. Whoops. Oh, let's bit low. There is a tendency for them to come unstuck at the edges if you're not careful. So, right. Let's go there, shall we? Purely random. Okay. Now, I'm going to just press them down. And I'm going to get myself a piece of scrap paper to lean on so I don't find myself leaning into the ink and get muddy marks everywhere. Okay, let's start. I'm going to start at the top with some black soot. Let's see how we go. I might have to be really careful how I approach these trees at the top, because I don't want to disturb them too much, and then hopefully I can add the colour around them. I'm going away from the page at the moment because I just don't want to push these branches sideways. That's the only thing really at the minute. Right, let me just blend a little bit here. The more uneven the colour is, the more authentic it actually looks, because, you know, the sky wouldn't look absolutely solid one colour. There'd be different shades here and there. I'm going to carry on to the end because I don't know how much of this I will use. Okay. Right. Right. Try the next one. I'm going to do Hickory Smoke with the small stencil brush. This one. Move my paper down a bit. This one seems to pick up a lot of ink, the small one. So I'm going to apply Hickory Smoke with the small one and with the larger brush, and then blend it in with the larger brush probably. There we go. Hickory Smoke, here we go. Let's come down again. There we go. It is slightly less intense, I think, the colour just here. From there to there, do you see? Just slightly. Then, as I say, I intend cutting this panel down. I don't want to use the whole great thing, but I can choose what shape card base I put it on, whether I put it on a DL, which is the long skinny one, or whether I put it on a 5x7, whatever. Just do a bit of blending up here. Right. It's really fun playing with inks like this, I think. Look at the difference in the colour there and there. Can you see? That's just with using a different brush. Absolutely. I think it's great. Just blend this in a bit up here. This looks like mist, doesn't it? Coming through the forest. Okay. Now, let's do some Lost Shadow. I've left it purposely a larger portion at the bottom because I think a lot of that is going to be cut off because the interest really is in the branches at the top. So although I've got a large piece of card, I may well not be using it all. We'll see. Love Lost Shadow. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous colour. It's warm. It's a warm grey. Years ago, well, a couple of times I've had my colours done. I don't know if people in the US have this as well. Colour Me Beautiful or something it is, where an expert assesses your skin tone, your everything else, and gives you a palette of colours that you should be wearing to best suit your both your personality and your colouring. Let's put some more down here. Do it. It can be really light down at the bottom. Nearly done. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to have the snowflakes that I put on that other one over the trees, or with the trees not showing them. I decided I would take the masks off first before. Right, let's just do a little bit more blending here. I've got rather a stark line there. Just see if we can just blend that out a bit more. I do like it. Yes, what have I got there? Hickory smoke. Be careful. Right. There we are. Blend it up into the top as well. Oh, I love it. Just love doing this. I find it really relaxing. Really relaxing. Okay, I'll put a little bit more colour down this bottom here. Right. If I had a larger brush, I would probably be using a larger brush for this colour, but I just don't have a spare at the moment, which is why I've got the tiddler. Okay. Right, lids on. There we go. Now the moment of truth. We'll take the trees off. I ought to take them this way, shouldn't I? No, should I take them? No, this way. Take them off in the reverse order. Look. I don't think you could do this without sticking them down. And to clean them, I just go and pop them under the tap, and the colour just falls off, and most of the sticky comes off as well. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to pop my snowflake stencil over the top, and I'm just going to put a bit of low tack tape on just to hold it still, just at the sides. Haven't covered any of the snowflakes up. Now here's my glimmer paste. As I say, there's not a lot in a pot. You don't need an incredible amount each time, but I think it's really expensive. You can hear the gritty bits, the glittery bits in it, can't you? Still got enough there. You do need to clean this off your implements, otherwise it would set hard. I often have a tub of water in the craft room if I know I'm going to be using something that will need to get cleaned up, so that it doesn't set hard. See, there quite a lot went back, didn't it? So we didn't need an incredible amount. Lid on. I'll just wipe my knife. There we go. Now let's pick this up. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. I'll put that in my little pot. There we go. Now, I will have to wait for that to dry. But all I did for this card was I cut a little piece of a strip of the black to go along the top. I'll show you how I did it. I'll put that at the back there for a moment. Take this, let's wipe it. This one's getting really messy. I have to bring the other half out. Used it such a lot. Right, let's put that down there. Here's a piece of black. All I did, I cut a strip, which is the width of that. And I'll show you, I used this particular scoreboard because the grooves are really wide. Most of the scoreboards that I have got really narrow grooves. And for this technique, you need to have, well, it looks better if you have a wider one. So all I do is put my piece of card. I would have cut a strip off this, by the way, but I'm just doing this to show you. Just over the edge of one of these grooves, and with an embossing tool, just go along that groove to make an embossed edge. I'll show you in a moment what it looks like. Can you see? You just get this nice curved embossed edge, which just finishes off the edge of whatever you're putting on. So I did that, one for the top, one for the bottom. When I've decided to, I might cut this into two like I did with the other one. And then I cut out two of my sentiments, stacked them, popped it on, and it was done. So I thought that was a bit of fun, really. So quick and easy. Use both bits of your stencil. Stencils, Masks by Trinity Stamps. As ever, thank you so much for watching.